Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Jackson County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, July 30th of 2024. With me today, I have Don Schwanker, Lynn Flagel, myself, Mike Steinis are your county supervisors. Lisa is our county auditor with us, and Bjorn is from IT. And Luann is off today for personal reasons, and Mary is here with the media. So we'll call the meeting to order, and first on our agenda today, we had a work session with the engineer at 8:30. Now, Mr. Brent Kilberg, our Jackson County Sheriff. Good morning.
Morning. Morning, Brent.
You brought a gaggle of people.
Entourage.
So my purpose in appearing before the board this morning is to recognize one of our long tenured employees. Russ Long is retiring tomorrow. So we wanted to get him in front of the board here and get him publicly recognized. So I appreciate you letting me have a few minutes this morning. So I'm going to read a little bit of a bio of Russ's biography of his history here. There's another version of this, but I had to clean it up a little bit for the business portion of the meeting.
So we have a brief
5 second
delay.
I'll work on it.
So Russ started his career with Maquoketa Police Department in 1980 at the age of 19. He served the city of Maquoketa for 10 years. During that tenure, he actively responded to and assisted in the investigation of 2 murders. Then Police Chief Ron Evans presented him with a life-saving award for removing 2 men from a burning car accident, which had come to rest on top of another vehicle in an apartment complex parking lot. In 1989, he was hired by the Iowa City Police Department and worked undercover narcotics on a federal drug task force in that region. He was personally involved in the arrest of over 30 narcotics dealers. Investigations and drug buys from one of the bigger defendants resulted in a 6-month wiretap. At that time, this phone tap was only the second one authorized in the state of Iowa. So that was something new back then. That's how long Russ has been around. Russ was also the acting supervisor working the second half of a double shift when he and his 2 good friends and coworkers were dispatched to an active shooter on the University of Iowa campus. 5 university staff members died as a result of that incident, and they located the shooter in a vacant classroom deceased with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I'm sure everyone here is old enough to remember that. He was also involved in the high-profile assault and public intoxication arrest of heavyweight boxing champion Tommy Morrison. At the time, he had no idea who he was, and he's still thankful that Morrison did not add him to his string of knockouts. Tommy asked to come visit Russ today, but we declined in the interest of Russ's health. Russ returned to Maquoketa in 1994 and was hired by Sheriff Bob Lyons as a part-time deputy and jailer. During this time, he also served 5 years as the Sebula police chief and 2 years as the Preston police chief prior to being hired as a full-time Jackson County Sheriff's deputy by then Sheriff Russ Ketman. During this tenure, he unfortunately responded to yet another active shooter situation at the Maquoketa Caves campground. That was only 2 years ago. Actually, we just passed the anniversary of that. During his time as a deputy, his son Andrew often rode along with him from the time that he was in middle school. Andrew's time riding with his dad taught him a lot about law enforcement and inspired him to begin his career with our office in 2013. Russ was very proud when Andrew was appointed the jail administrator by Sheriff Brent Kilberg in 2021. His youngest son, Lucas, also has a career in law enforcement. He works for the Iowa Department of Corrections. He started at the Anamosa State Penitentiary and now works as a residential correctional facility in Cedar Rapids. His wife, Jane, also served as a jail matron over the years, and she's been down volunteering at the new jail, helping Andrew get things set up and organized down there. Deputy Long has always taken pride in being fair and treating people as he would want to be treated. Russ has always had a great rapport with the community, long before CIT training even came about. We've utilized his skills in some of our recent critical incidents. When I first took over as sheriff, I wondered if Russ would be willing to conform to my goals and ideals, and he's done a wonderful job. We are very thankful that he adapted to our vision and mission and has stuck it out with us. Russ has served for 44 years in law enforcement. That's more than double the required minimal amount of service required to retire from the system. 30 years of service is impressive in our line of work, but 44 is unheard of. Russ will be missed dearly and will be hard to replace. So I wanted to recognize him publicly for his dedication to the public. So let's please give Russ a warm round of applause for his tenure. Yeah.
I love Jackson County and I'm gonna be a big advocate. And I love the people I work with.
Russ has done a great job. Like I said, when you get a dog that's that used to his habits, when a new guy comes in, you wonder if that's gonna work out or not. And Russ has done a good job of figuring us out and just figuring, what we want and conforming to that. So I
I'm
got
sure
her.
there's a little molding the other way going back, saying, "Now, easy. buddy."
I would say I probably learned some stuff from Russ too. So
Thank you.
yeah, Russ has done a great job. So good job, buddy.
Thank you.
If we could we get him and his family up there?
You bet.
Take some pictures. Tissues around.
Oh, of course.
I partly owe my military
Oh,
career,
yeah.
chief. Just before I left for the airport, you had a
We
meeting,
will-
once and you let me go.
I was nice, wasn't I?
Yes, you were, you were like, actually, you turned your flashlight off and said, "We're even." Yeah, for the military.
We'll take a brief recess for the picture taking here.
And we will reconvene at this time and we just took a short recess to take some pictures with the retiring officer Russ Long. And we want to thank him for his dedicated service for over the years, and he had over 44 years in law enforcement. So thank you for Russ, and actually thank the whole crew over there and the staff. They do a wonderful job here in Jackson County and we appreciate what they do. So anyway, we will continue with our meeting. Are there any visitors or citizens present here today that would like to approach the board? Seeing or hearing none. I don't know where we at with Jonathan's Jackson County EMS. We're a little bit ahead of schedule yet. So Lisa, would you like to do your business this morning?
I do not have the calendar, so.
I got it here. You can have it.
Oh, right here. I do have the calendar, right here. Okay. Looks like a pretty easy week according to this. Boy, there's no meeting. There's a meeting this afternoon at 4 o'clock, Mississippi Valley Workforce CEO meeting by Zoom for Don. Nothing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There is just a public notice that Senator Joni Ernst is having a town hall meeting at Innovate 120 on Saturday from 10 to 11. Nothing on Monday, and back here on Tuesday for a regular board meeting. Items that I need today for approval is a motion to approve the minutes of the July 23rd, 2024 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspapers. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the July 23, 2024 board proceedings as written. All those in favor say aye. Aye opposed. Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants in the publication of the claims listing in the amount of $418,312.10. So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye opposed. Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve and authorize the chair's signature on the letter of support for the Macocata Green Space Redevelopment Committee in the amount of $10,000 per year for 3 years.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve and authorize the chair's signature letter of support to the Macocata Green Space Redevelopment Committee. This goes back to last year when we approved that. They need county support to get the grant money for that green space, and they supported us on the extension building, and so we want to be good neighbors, and we think that's a good cause. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carried.
That's all that I have for the board today.
Thank you. Are there any other board or commission reports that you'd like to have at this time?
Not real.
Last week has been pretty mellow.
Yeah, last week was actually a good week, and again, we will take another brief recess at this time. We will reconvene at this time, and Becky Chapin, our Human Resource Director of Human Resource, has joined us. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning. So over the last couple of weeks, Lori, Elizabeth, and I have interviewed for the vacancy in the administrative assistant position that supports the health and zoning offices with Bruce's transition to the Veterans Department. We did have some really nice candidates. There were several that we could have selected. We did end up making an offer for the position and it was accepted. So I would ask for a motion to approve the hiring of Rebecca Fluhop as the administrative assistant at an hourly rate of $20.60 per hour effective August 7th, 2024, including authorizing the county auditor to issue biweekly paychecks for the same.
I have a motion and a second to approve the hiring of Rebecca Fluhop as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye opposed, motion carried.
And then I talked a little bit about the memorandum of understanding that we have with the MHDS region. There's an exhibit on that that identifies who within our county is performing regional functions, and that needs to be updated with the retirement of Lynn Bopes. The MOU does specifically call out that the county board's representative updates the exhibit, which would technically be Jack Willie. So I reached out to him. I have it updated. He's going to stop in and sign it, and I'll get it to the region, and I'll be done. So you want to for us to do it?
Appreciate that, and yeah, get
Yep.
that taken care of.
Yep, that's all I had.
Would we
Thank you.
need to put Lene on that? Or-
Lene, just Lene.
Just
Yep,
Lene.
just Lene. Yeah, so Lynn and, we actually had Lucy on there still, but Lynn had decided, we kind of talked about during the transition of her retirement with the direction the position's going. And the amount of administrative support that Lucy actually gave the department, Lynn didn't feel like it was worth training the new secretary at VA and Lene. So Lene and her just kind of agreed that Lene would take over
Okay.
she would do all, so we'll just get 100% reimbursement for Lene.
Okay.
Yep. All
Good
right,
enough.
all
Well,
right.
we know that situation. We don't know what it's gonna come to, but
Yep.
thank you.
Yep, no, I wouldn't get. You know, she's.
Nathan,
That's fine.
what's your time frame here? We got Stormy in,
You
you,
can put him on.
all right. Michael, are you available?
I'm here.
Okay, well, Michael Storm, our Jackson County Medical Service Coordinator, joined us today and give us a report.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like Kyle's just jumping on as well here. So just touching base on what we talked about last time I gave an update. So that was talking about the CPR first aid training that we were doing with the courthouse. I met with the security committee, got what their needs were, and they suggested I meet with the safety committee and make sure that I'm meeting their needs as well. They're meeting here in August sometime, I believe. So I'll meet with them. We're still on track to doing this training this fall with all of the departments in the courthouse that need it. So just need to touch base with a couple more committees, and then we'll have that training set. Otherwise, just been kind of business as usual throughout the summer, doing continuing education classes, prepping for hopefully to have more initial EMT classes this fall, winter again, like we did last year, to increase the number of certified providers that we have in the county. And it's been doing odds and ends for different services as they request.
Well, good. Anybody have any, Mike, in the past, we've always heard about these system standards. How is that all proceeding as far as your EMS services, fire,
Yeah, system standards. So that's partly tied to that Region 5 grant that we get every year. We were actually very successful with the grant this year. We were allotted, I think, like 8,600 per county within our region. But if there's extra funds that different counties don't utilize, they can disperse that to other counties that wish to utilize that. We actually got 2 coverages this year. So we got 9,100 that covered our initial requests that we put in last fall. And then we also got an extra 8,500. So we got a lot more grant dollars this year than what we have in the past anyways to fund our projects. Those being training activities. But the system standards, those are something that's continually ongoing. There's things that we work on, policies, procedures. Kind of difficult. It's more of an assistance that I give because each individual service has their own policy and procedures. We try to do some things countywide, but each agency has the ability to create their own to meet their needs. So
Okay, so, and I see that Kyle Bales is the president of the EMS committee, is that correct? I see
yes,
you.
yes.
Kyle, do you have anything for us or anything you'd like to say?
Nope, I don't have anything additional. I was just logging on today to see how Mike's been doing and checking in a little bit on what he was reporting out.
Okay.
He's been doing a
so-
great job as far as I can tell.
Okay, well, we appreciate hearing that, and just for Michael's concerns, I would like to have you keep a track record of these grants and other things that we receive. We start having our other departments do that to see where we've gained ground in the last 3 or 4 years. So we like to hear that, that we're getting, or that actually, that we're applying for them for one thing,
Right.
and then we're getting them. So, we'd like to hear that, and people need to know that. The public needs to know that, so.
And Michael, if you could, for those initial EMT classes you're talking about this fall and winter, could you just go over, is there any prerequisites for it? Is there any cost if somebody in the county is looking to take that way? Is just a synopsis again, just so we can get it out?
Sure. So I don't have any like finalized numbers with the college. I'm sure they're not going to be changing from what we did last year, but we have an arrangement with our Northeast Iowa Community College out of Piasta. Since through my position, I'm the instructor, we get a discounted fee because they're not paying instructor fees. I'm using that through my position. So EMT class that would normally be $1,200 to $1,300 was $880 for our residents, or and then the EMR or first responder course was like $440, I believe. There's no prerequisites for any of it. It's hybrid courses, so we do the lectures online, and then we meet somewhere within the county. So whether it's the hospitals, whether it was in Preston, etc., depending on where my clientele are, to eliminate the amount of travel that they need. So they seem to like that. Pretty, like the flexibility of it. They don't have to be at a physical location every time we're doing a lecture. They're recorded, so if they miss, they can't attend, they can review that lecture at a different time as well. So seemed to be well received last year, at least when I did it. So we have a couple things that the students thought might work better. We did a survey on, and we'll look to implement those in the future here. So once I get more concrete information for those classes, we'll be sending them out to the county. I'll be posting them out on any Facebook groups that our services might have, and we want to use that as a recruiting tool. We've had students that were already on agencies that took it last year, and we had individuals that were just citizens that heard about it and wanted to sign up. So again, it's because of that discounted price, it's opened initially only to Jackson County residents or those that are associated with the Jackson County EMS Association. So that includes like Delmer and Lost Nation, since our Jackson County ambulance covers the entire of their district.
Michael, question, I think I've heard this before, but does like EMT courses and things like that, do they qualify for any college credits for these if they go further into the medical field, or no?
Yeah, so they can, if they want to go and get, like that 2-year paramedic degree or whatever the case is, they can take it as non-credit, and then they can transfer that class once completed over and get credit hours for it.
Nice.
That's something I've done in the past. If they're looking to get, initially the class that we do is non-credit, so there's no financial aid or anything available to take the class, but
Sure.
they can transfer it to credit on the back end.
Nice. Well, thank you. And we, from the whole board here, I'd like to make sure we thank all of our volunteers and EMS services that are out there. We know they've been busy. Again, we hope that you can attract the younger portion or of our county, you know, to keep active. I know some of our services are getting the age group of some of them guys been volunteering a long time. We sure appreciate what they've done, and we'd like to have the younger generation get involved too if we could. So, we live and die by our volunteers, so thank them.
Yes, and speaking of volunteers, Nan, it's good to see you upright after a long fair week.
Right.
I think she's a public address announcer now. I've heard her several times over the week now. I think she's our new public address announcer, yeah.
Yeah, the days I was over, I enjoyed it, so I hope the fair went well for everybody.
It was a good fair,
Good.
good weather, so except for the one rain day.
Yep, but we got the parade in anyways, so.
Yeah. So any questions for Michael or Kyle?
Nope.
All right, well, thanks, Stormy.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right, now Nathan Jones from Jackson County, Jackson County Conservation Director. Good morning, Nathan.
How are you guys?
Good.
Well, just kind of a brief update. So, you were aware we closed our campgrounds down due to flooding. But we're starting to climb out of it. Yesterday, we got Sevilla fully open in preparation for this weekend's Sevilla days. Today, they're starting on Spruce. So if you get calls, we're just starting to get dug into Spruce and get the electrical cleaned in and gotta pick clean mud and, debris up that was left from the flood. So I don't have a timeline. You never know how long that stuff takes. I'm hoping it's quicker. than-
Well, I went through up there the best I could and see, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of work to be done, so be patient. We
Sorry.
wanna get the campground open, we really do. It's the revenue for the county and conservation and whatnot, and we'd like to get it open, but just understand that's not a friendly job either.
Yeah,
In the muck and the mud and the.
Any idea how thick that
Humidity.
mud is?
I don't,
Yeah.
I think it depends on where you're at in the campground. Some of it out on the ends, a lot thicker than it is towards the inland where the water.
I was amazed where all the grass in the harbor came from, clear out into the river,
Yeah,
is that normal or?
no, it seemed like it was a different flood than normal. It was even the current through the campground was more this time than some of the past. So I guess we'll see on timeline on that. We're down one crew member also. We had a resignation of one of our rangers, so we're down a person that would be normally there to help clean up. It's cutting into Jeannie's spraying time for roadside, so it was horrible timing on that. So hopefully we can get her back out there on some of that roadside stuff soon. So there's some finagling there. So hopefully this week we can make some big progress and see where we're at. We got the ramps on the harbors. We're asking people to walk in for now until we can get the road cleared along that section. We have to get the electrical boxes all put back together on the harbor too. So I think that was the first thing they were working on this morning, is starting to get the electrical on them. And then getting that road section there, and then we'll work our way to the north through the campground.
Boat ramp in yet?
It is open. The docks, I think
They're
they,
not coming.
yeah, the dock, I think they moved it yesterday back down. It was pulled up and then now the river's dropping like a rock.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So they moved it again yesterday. I'm sure they'll have to move it again here in a few days as the river keeps receding. But that's,
Is there any projections? What are the projections for that? I mean, are we gonna keep around 8-9 feet, or what are they projecting?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
So,
it's been going a half a foot or better a day the way it looked.
yeah, my gut feelings, just watching how these things happen in the past, we usually level out that 7-8 foot, seems like for a little
Yeah.
while.
According to the weather on the app I follow, they're calling for by 2 weeks, a week, they're gonna be down 8 feet. So
Yeah, so hopefully,
A little bit of rain.
that's a good level right there. I like 8 foot.
Yeah, if we could keep that up there, that's a lot better than 4.5 or 5. You know,
Yep.
that's a.
Yep, so, another thing for you guys, we've moving along with the display at the center. We've raised over 193,000 of the $200,000. We're waiting on 4 grants currently on that. So we're pretty confident that money is gonna come in soon, most likely. Actually, the muralist is out there as we speak, starting to paint the wall. That would be the backdrop to the new display. So that project's moving along. Yeah. Kind of waiting on permits on some of our other things, hopefully in prep for fall to get some of these new ramps put in. Met with the Corps for Sevilla last week. That Sevilla project's starting to move along. It's been a little bit of a fight from the county and the state fighting with the Corps to try to make them realize the project can, to the best of its ability. But we're still looking at some kind of dredge in that middle lake within the next few years. Some island building with the spoil and hopefully increasing the fishery and the revenue and stuff that help that community out too. So that's going to be a multi-million-dollar project, and coming up, there'll be a public meeting probably at this point, the way it's moving, it's probably going to be January, February, I'm guessing. I say that with my fingers crossed. I know the Corps said this to me in the past, and it's taken 2 years to get to this point. So, but that's a good project. I think that'll move along and hopefully it can benefit us and the communities around. So that's one of those we're to keep moving on forward on.
Well, you know, that's a large project, and that middle lake there, that whole project, that's just a huge asset to our community and the county and hopefully that they realize that and we can utilize what that could really be.
Yeah, I think
Will that go low enough to kind of kill that vegetation that seems to be creeping through there?
No, not
I'm
really.
guessing not. In the North Lake, we're probably, after our last meeting with the way the funding, and you'll get a kick out of this, their contingencies is like $10 million of contingency just for over fee of, that's the Corps has to set aside 10 million of the $25 million set of the project, but they just, after looking at numbers, we didn't even think we could work in the North Lake to get something that was beneficial. So the North Lake's probably less, it has spoil set in it from dredge, probably is gonna be out. That's the worst one.
Mhm.
And then we're hoping maybe in portions of the dredge, it might get deep enough, but there's limits where they can dredge to due to they don't want to hit sand lens and have when the river's high above the levees up and be able to have some flooding problems within the community. So there's some limitations we have to look out for there. So that's something that will probably, we've brought up to the state, maybe looking at after the project's done, some chemical treatment options or mechanical treatment options, but that's expensive and we don't know where we'll go. So we're gonna wait and see what this project brings and see what happens, I guess. But I don't think it'll probably affect it too much other than maybe certain portions of the dredge.
If it gets deep enough, it won't.
Yeah, it won't get the sunlight through. One of the keys is removing the rough fish in that system. There's a lot of carp and there that are causing sediment suspension and that. Maybe that'll clean the water up, help the fishery and help just make the lake look better. The other problem with that though is that brings on vegetation also, much clean the water up even more. So there's some things we'll be fighting as this goes on. From my standpoint, the money's not available for ramps or any of that. That's one of my concerns. So hoping at least we can get them to address making Driscoll's Island bigger with spoil from when they're dredging, and then we'll have a spot to make a gravel lot and apply for some grants to put a ramp into the lake for public use and stuff. But that was one of the things the Corps was fighting me on because they said that wasn't eligible, but we'll see if we can get that through with them. Yeah, so those are kind of what we got going on. You guys have any questions for me?
I know at one point you talked about a building.
Yep, that's kind of fallen down the radar. We haven't talked too much about it. And I that last point we left it off. I was gonna work with Alex. Well, no longer gonna be working with Alex. I gotta figure out kind of some cost stuff. I have been keeping my eye open for certain things. I wish the John Deere would have been in Jackson County, because I think that would have been a pretty good location opportunity wise or something. So we've been watching for those. Till this, we did pull a little extra money and put in our reserve fund right at the end of the last year until the flood hit. So it wasn't much, just in preparation to help offset the cost when we do get the building going. So, yeah, I need to probably get a meeting back together on that and see where we're at. To try to keep that moving forward. This budget session will be here before you guys know it. and Probably be something that brought up.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had considered a lot of different, maybe areas, you know, I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about county farm, we talked about Prairie Creek, you know, I guess you and your staff are gonna have to decide where it's best located according to your travel times, you
Yeah,
know.
yep, so me personally think it makes sense to centralize it, knowing, just looking after a flood, how much time it takes to go maintain these two east side of the county, but it would be nice to have us centralized so we can maybe pay a little more attention to the stuff out. You know, central and western Jackson County.
Well, it's not that we can't have an out, you know, a substation or something somewhere, like, you know, close to Bellevue hopefully, or someplace.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have, you know, actually, it'd be nice to be south of Bellevue, probably maybe somewhere, but.
Yeah, I've talked to the state, they're looking at making a new fisheries facility in the next few years too, and I'm like, well, maybe we could piggyback and have a structure.
Combination.
And we can have an office in their building or something, we don't have to pay for that portion of the structure. But.
Yeah, good
sometimes-
options to look at anyway,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yep, so that's, I guess I don't have a lot to fill you in there.
Any other questions for Nathan?
No, and, well, I guess one more, Iron Bridge. You know, there was talk, you know, with the adventure race ending there,
Yep,
coordinating with the, engineer's office to see about maybe
yep,
enhancing the access at that point, or, I mean, is there any
Yeah.
progress with that, or?
yeah, and I think that one was on our list, and I need to talk to Jaden, technically, we don't own most of that, it's. Privately, we pay lease on it, so that's been one of our hesitation that wasn't higher on our list in the past. But I think it was one that really needs some attention at some point. As of right now, where we left off with the planning committee, we wanted to get Royertown up and going in a better shape. And then the next one was Canton, or did I say, I meant Bridgeport.
Yeah.
And then, next one was Canton and Royertown, because the road washes out, but Iron Bridge was right in that list. To try to get some grant funding, till we can get the Royertown funding spent, I can't apply for the same grant again, so that's.
Bridgeport or?
Or Bridgeport, I keep saying Royertown, sorry. Bridgeport fundings, and that'll be hopefully this fall, I know. Corps been sending some questions on that, permit back and forth, there and Spruce, they've been mussels and everything else, I don't know. To me, it makes no sense, you don't think there's gonna be any mussels on something that was already a ramp at Spruce, but I could see maybe at, Bridgeport where they're having some questions and concerns, but hopefully we have those ready to bid out for fall and get those projects done when it's not a busy season, and I can start applying for permits again. But I need to talk to Jaden, because I mean, if there's a way to finagle that in there where it's in the right of way a little better, and we can spend some.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, you know, as far as ownership, you know, either if we can pursue options, either to own or a long-term lease, you know, we're gonna have to go in long-term if we're gonna spend X amount of dollars or get grant money. I
Yeah.
don't know what the parameters will be, but yeah.
I think it's a little tougher to get the grant money when you don't own the site.
Yeah, I would say
Right.
probably.
So, but yeah, that's on my list.
Okay. So that's all I have.
Yeah, we can negotiate that if we can, and if there's any options. If you need anything from us, you have to let us know, Nate.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good day.
You too.
Anyone else here to approach the board today? But we appreciate the work that everybody's doing, and we give our thoughts and prayers to some of our employees that lost some loved ones in the past week. And any other business before the board?
Be cool, everybody.
Yeah, we hope that everybody stays, that the weather's gonna get fairly humid in the next couple days, and be aware of it. Get a lot of fluids, water.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you.